Stick to the plan, anticipate, don't improvise, trust no one. And welcome everybody to the Lunch Table Podcast. In this episode, we are covering The Killer, now out on Netflix, from David Fincher, starring Michael Fassbender. Wonderful movie. Akram, let's get your thoughts on it.
Yes, I highly recommend it, but again, trust no one. But yeah, you could trust me, you could trust us. Definitely check it out.
I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just playing you guys. I'm like Tilda Swinton.
Right.
No, but for real, it was really, it blew me away because it's kind of, you get this eerie feeling. I think Michael Fassbender is a phenomenal actor, and you get this eerie feeling from him. And they also get rid of the tropes of like taking care of dispatching some enemies where you leave loose ends. He leaves no loose ends whatsoever. And so you kind of wonder, is this guy actually like the good guy here or something like that? It doesn't really quite feel that way. It's just a man on his mission trying to figure out what happened to his lover, and then eventually we get to a really conclusion that I think is actually really symbolic. It wasn't a conclusion that I expected, but for the most part, I think it's a brilliant film. And kudos to David Fincher, again, awesome director.
For sure. Yeah, I think it's ironic because this character is so unempathetic, but he does all this in like kind of like the name of love, like because he kind of wants to avenge his lover. But it's so interesting, like. He doesn't even talk much in the film. It's mostly like his kind of like thoughts that we're hearing throughout the whole film. I think that's so interesting. And yeah, he's very methodical, and he kind of feels like Robert from The Equalizer almost. So it's like he's so tactful, and it's just like really interesting, like how efficient he is. But also at the same time, he's human, and I think it was so interesting seeing that scene where he missed the shot that leads to this whole story. So it's like even the most like it's like kind of like a forewarning. It's like even the most prepared person in the world can still fail at something in a way. So it's like that's what makes us human. But nonetheless, it was a great film.
Absolutely, and I love the inner thoughts because he gave us a lot to think about, and also it was in a way kind of like this sort of esoteric type of thinking. I always love that with these type of characters. That's what makes them super unique, is when they actually think of the bigger picture in life.
He's so eloquent in the way he talks. He could talk about my body count, and I would listen to like,
just no one.
He would give me like some like random statistic, and I'd be like, oh yeah, I didn't think about that.
Never yield opportunity or an advantage. Right. Yeah, no, absolutely. He's wonderful. And again, David Fincher, it does feel like a David Fincher movie. We heard inner monologues in one of the most famous films, Fight Club. And it says a little bit kind of feels like Seven in some ways. But the action was great. There was this long extended fight scene versus the brutes, and I thought that was pretty good. Really, actually, it was really destructive. What do you think of the main themes? Because I have my thought from it.
I mean, it's interesting. He's a very cynical character, and he feels like very almost disassociative from society, and it's like he's meant for this role in a way, and it's kind of like begs the question, is like, are certain types of people just like made for this role? But it's interesting because we also get different perspectives, because we have characters like Tilda Swinton's character, who's like this like, you know, carefree going character, right? And she's like nothing like we would imagine Michael Fassbender's character to be. And perhaps that's why he succeeds at his job. He always talks about like how you have to be efficient. So maybe perhaps that's why he triumphs over these characters, because he's literally made to be an assassin. He's so efficient, and just like seeing his process throughout this whole film, it's almost scary. We were talking about earlier. I was like, I hope someone doesn't fucking watch this and like take notes or some shit, because it's so clear. Yeah, even just like the little details that he thinks about. Like, I mean, obviously, like if somebody like threw away like the murder weapon, that's obvious. But like even the fob thing, like stealing like someone's identity, or like dressing up as like a recycle person or trash person. It's like nobody would think of that. It's just like that proves like how efficient he is as a killer. I don't know. It's like really interesting on screen.
Yeah, absolutely. What I took from the movie was, by the end, he leaves the final guy alone. And how I kind of took it was, if you think about it, let's put example Jeff Bezos. He's not really connected with the actual business or the going onings of the workers per se. And I kind of took this like, that's why he left the final person, because everyone else, the workers, kind of have a choice, but this final person, they put themselves in such a situation where they just become untouchable, as if they're not really like a person at all, really isolated, secluded, but everybody else is just trying to do the best they can. They're getting orders from the higher ups. And that's why I think he kind of, which is it kind of flips it in his head, because you would think in this type of movie, like, you're going to go all the way to the top and take care of him. We've seen that in countless of movies, but this time it reverses the role. Whereas, well, this person honestly has no idea what happened, even if he's in charge. That's how much power he has. So why touch him? And it's not like a nice sentiment, but at the same time too, it's a realistic one, because that's what's going on right now. People are blamed when they're, just the workers, that you blame the workers rather than the actual corporation,
Right.
or the leader. So I thought that was really interesting. And then again, the bear thing that Tilda Swinton character, the expert, was talking about. There was that twitch that Michael Fassbender chose to like do, and it made a lot of sense. It's like, now he's kind of at peace. Now he's a part of the normie society, but it kind of bothers him, and I really like that. It's
Well, in a way,
interesting.
too, I was thinking like he's in this profession so well, and he knows it like inside and out. He's almost like a John Wick character, where like, he's still honorable too. Like he'll hear you out. He might kill you, but he could also hear you out. So I was thinking like maybe he let him live, because he basically killed his handler. So maybe he still wants to get back in the business somehow. So he probably needs clients too. It's not like all about revenge. He shows some restraint too, which I think actually like adds to his character. Because he's not an impulsive person. He's a very cold and methodical person, like we've been saying. So I think that was like interesting that he left the final guy alive, actually. But it's like the other guys probably deserved it, because they went overboard, right? Yeah. How do you think this actually compares in like the genre of like assassin movies?
It's the same thing. He does feel sort of the serial killer. Well, if you think about it, assassins are in a way kind of serial
Hitmen,
killers.
yeah.
Yeah. And so I think it stands up pretty well. I actually wish that they did a Hitman movie based on a game kind of like this. I wish they took that approach. It just shows you like great ideas coming from great directors. It's like how you could kind of twist that into like certain IPs. But for the most part, yeah, I think the marketing is really tough with this one, because every time you search on Google, you got to put in some work sometimes. You got to like usually put The Killer Netflix. Like there's some other properties that's called The Killer or has something to do with The Killer, unfortunately. So I don't know if this will be quite memorable. I would hope so. And again, it was released on Netflix. I hope one day they choose to like physically release this movie. Maybe that'll help it out to remain iconic like other of Finch's films. But for the most part, yeah, it deserves a spot of popular like assassin genre movies. Yeah, how about you?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Now, production wise, how do you think it was treated? Because I think it's interesting how they kind of broke it into chapters for a movie. I mean, certain movies do that. The creator did that as well. But there's so many chapters. I felt like it should have kind of been like a limited series. Maybe there were like short little episodes where he goes to like these different places too. Yeah, how did you think the production wise it held up?
Well, yeah, production I think is great. I don't know what's the budget of this movie, but for the most part, I thought it was shot beautifully. You and I both agree that the intro was like really great, but also super fast.
Beautiful.
It wasn't
Yeah,
that
right.
fast. Like it was like a YouTube video. I never seen an intro so fast in a movie before, but that was great. The chapters, I'm on the fence about it, because it wasn't something that to just watch the movie, you don't really have to care about the chapters, but I think the chapters were there in place just to show you the progression. And plus the character's actions show that he's unyielding in his pursuit and leave no trace behind. But at the very end, that's what I was saying. Like he left a guy alive, and it's like, it's a complete shock. Like what? And then each chapter was named after the person he was going to go after or something like that.
It almost felt to me like he was writing like a memoir or something. Like we hear his intrusive thoughts, and like it's broken up to the chat. So maybe it's like he's writing it like in a diary or something.
Sure. Yeah. It was. And what did you think about like the fonts and stuff? Like I actually thought the
graphics were beautiful. That was like the most interesting thing I've ever seen for like a chapter marker.
Yeah.
Like even
like
the
weird.
intro song was like so weird. It went by like really fast.
Yeah.
But it doesn't like linger on details, which I think is kind of meta for like his character too. And I guess David Fincher loves the Smiths too, because there were so many instances where like he played the Smiths. It's
Yeah.
like really cool.
Yeah, I heard that this. I'm not like a huge Smiths listener, but I heard sometimes they're pretty cynical in their like lyrics, and it's kind of funny because the killer himself is a little bit cynical in some ways that when he talks. So I think it really matches. And I knew that they were going to end the movie with that song that he keeps playing. I knew it because it was like a little tease. Yeah, I bet that actually made me feel like To Fly more now. I don't know. Remember our Comic-Con thing? Now I feel
You
like
see like us
points.
in the back of the in the airport or some shit. They fucked us, yeah.
Yeah, they fucked us.
Oh yeah, I kept laughing too because when he said I used to book a lot through Airbnb. Not anymore. I kept laughing.
Yeah, literally.
If you guys watch our Comic-Con video, you understand why.
Yeah, that was a huge problem in our movie. Yeah, and then also when he was fighting the brute, he said, "You're the wrong house, motherfucker," and you started to fight the brute. Like
I was rolling to know when. Well, this is kind of fucked up. When he shot the guy and then the dog came running.
Oh
like,
yeah,
the dog was
he
like and then he like dipped. He dipped so fast. I know they were trying not to be controversial with like the animal cruelty shit, but I was like, he had a gun in his house. Like, why'd you just shoot in the direction of the gun? And he's like, oh, and then he like dipped. He let the dog, and then the dog like broke through the glass with the Kool-Aid man or some shit.
I thought the same thing. I was like, what's going on?
I was like, damn.
I felt bad for that dog. He lost his owner and the home too. I was like, shit, he did that dog dirty. And didn't he feed the dog something or anything?
Yeah,
or like he was talking about it?
Laced his kibble and shit with
like
drugs and stuff. Like, damn.
Now the dog, they had to do a killer too, and now it's the dog going after the killer. You see, so it's like a justice thing.
Strays 2 or some shit.
Right. It's Strays 2, yeah. It's gonna be a spinoff, and Neil Druckmann's gonna direct this, like the Psycho of Violence.
I already
see, we're writers. Well, so we said all that. I think we reached to the point where we're gonna give out rating. So what would you rate The Killer, and what are your final thoughts?
I would probably give this. I'd probably give it an 8 out of 10. I think it was really good. I think it was really clean. It was really interesting. It kind of, I don't know, kind of subverted my expectations for what I thought it was going to be. It feels like almost like immersive, like I'm actually like following this character throughout this journey too. I think actually, if they want to do a sequel, I would probably watch the sequel, definitely. Yeah, 8 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, I agree. I would definitely give it an 8 out of 10. I just love the whole movie. I think it's funny because it does speak for itself, because the killer is like clearly narrating all the time. And I think it's a great commentary again on like higher up positions and working class positions. And I think it did it abruptly ended for me at least. I know that there was like a point to it, but I did not expect it to just end like that. But that's fine. You don't see that much, right? So I think he was just trying to do something really different. And the movie was pretty short as well. It was like an hour and 45 minutes or something like that. An hour 58 minutes, so close to 2 hours. But for the most part, yeah, I think it was a solid movie. I think you guys should definitely check it out. And my friend, why don't you take us away?
Well, guys, that is our plan. I hope you don't trust this for no kidding.
Don't trust this.
But yeah, let us know down below what you thought of this movie. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, sub to the channel if you enjoyed this content. We do plenty of reviews, plenty of Netflix movies and shows. We actually did Blue-Eyed Samurai pretty recently. That was a great show as well from Netflix. Yeah, check out our content, guys. But until then, thanks for having lunch with us.
See you guys.